Good day, Neil and Rob. I'd just like to use this time to explain a little bit more for what I've done to accomplish for this last assignment regarding the 7-minute composition. My particular 7-minute piece is it was composed for 7 minutes of The Walking Dead, the first season, the pilot episode. I think the episode's called Days Gone By, which relates to the particular 7 minutes that I've chosen to do. It starts. My 7-minute clip starts for when Rick gets shot, the sheriff Rick, and it ends for where he's leaving the hospital. When I first started to piece this composition together, the first thing I done, I watched that 7 minutes over and over and over and over, just to get a feel for what's going on, for what I can do and what I can use. But the 7 minutes that I've chosen in the original, there is no music composed. It's completely free. There's only the sounds of him moving and the gunshots when he gets shot, obviously, and it's just sound effects. There's no music, so to speak, whatsoever. It's just it's so reliant on what he's seeing and what the audience sees. I think this is really gripping because normally when you watch a horror film, it's the music that grabs us, and when the music stops, that's when something's going to happen. Because there's no music in this, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's around the corner, which is why I think it's such a great. It was a challenge for me to put music to this already great existing clip. So what I done, I mapped out. I split the film into 3 different sections. The first section I consider where he gets shot, and that section stops for when the first song kicks in. Then the second section is for when he sees the dead girl, until the end. So the first section starts with just piano. There's a piano being played, and I'm playing the chords F major, G major and A minor, and I want to keep that section quite mellow because it's going to get darker later. The fun is going to kick off later because that's when all the zombies, you see the zombies, the dead people, and that's when all the deeper, darker music's going to come in, which is why I wanted to keep that section quite mellow. Underneath the piano, we can hear a police car. We can hear an outdoor effect. There's like a country field Foley that was available on Logic. I thought that was good to put underneath, and then obviously with the gunfire that can be heard, and that stands out. And as soon as Rick gets shot, the sheriff, we got that thumping heartbeat, and that thumping heartbeat is something that I wanted to bring to the surface. I want the viewer the viewer and the listener and the watchers to be on the edge of the seat, because I want him to be thinking, oh my god, he's just been shot, will he survive? And luckily he does, and that's what the heartbeat represents, is the questioning of his life. Will he survive the shot? So after that shot finishes, the screen goes white, and the camera is facing up at the sheriff's friend, and so the sheriff is in hospital, and the visual is shaky. You can tell that what the visual is trying to do is capture the dizziness, the unawareness of the character who's probably drugged up because of the pain and whatnot. So which is why the visual is shaky a bit. And for the music to complement that, I used a trancey analog synth and panned them hard left to right and vice versa. So it's phased, and it sounds unnatural and unsettling. So it's as if something weird is going on. And for the melody to benefit that, I've used an oboe and a flute. The oboe is panned hard left, and the flute is panned hard right. So it sounds as if there's two different. When you're listening to it, it sounds as if there's two people standing either side of you with a flute and an oboe, which I felt was really effective. For the Foley, for that section, there's a hospital waiting room effect on Logic. I've got that really quiet underneath, along with a heart monitor. Beep, beep. That's going on. That's going on there to symbolise that he's in hospital. You can hear he's in hospital. So I feel that's a really effective way to symbolise that he's in hospital. Can he get better? After that section then, Rick, you can see Rick waking up, and he looks to his left, and he sees the flowers that have wilted. He's seen flowers that have gone dead, they've gone dry. And on that point, the music, the second song just comes in for the second section. So the song that comes in is a composition that I composed without looking in the I composed without looking in the film. I watched the film so much that I wanted to come away from it and just use what I had from memory. And what I had from memory is I wanted the lyrics to the song to speak more than the music. So it was more of a poem for the film, but I used basic chords that fit really well, and they come together. There's a nice tight little song. It's got a keyboard. It's got a keyboard sound which is using a swamp guitar. It's got a string section which is only doing thirds. It's doing the A and the C for A minor third. It's just doing them intervals. I've got a third part harmony doing oohs and ahs following the chords. And in the end of the track then there's a harmonica solo in C. Yeah, but for that section I wanted my lyrics to speak more than the music. I wanted how I structured the song was what would I feel like if I was in issues, and the lyrics are you promised me it wouldn't end like this, you promised me one more final kiss. It's just like questions that I'd be asking myself. The lyrics are bit of a poem, and it works really well. You can see his face, he's really confused. And when you watch later on in the seasons of the Walking Dead, that he's actually looking for his wife, and he finds his wife, and I think the song really fits well in with the story of what I'm trying to capture. So he gets up out of bed, he falls over, and the fall is complemented with Foley. Later then, he's walking down the hall, you can hear the footsteps, and then he comes to a desk, and he's ruffling on his papers, looking for, you don't know what he's looking for, but eventually then he finds a match, and the match is fired, and then he walks to these double doors. He opens the double doors, and then he sees this dead body, and when he sees the dead body, he's welcomed with there's like a swooshing ambient scary effect. I've heard it a few times in different horror films, and I've used this about 3 or 4 times right the way through the film, and it's really gripping because it's scary, it's unnatural, it's unsettling, it's alien to us because we don't know what it is, and which is why it builds such a great tension with the clip. And that's when he sees that dead girl, that's when the second song comes in, and the second song is titled "Show Me the Dead," and it's available. Both tracks are available on SoundCloud on my account. Yeah, and I wanted that section to be really unsettling. I wanted the notes. I've only used about 3 or 4 different notes, and they repeated with different motifs, but motif in the notes that I'm using. The notes were G, octave G, and D flat. Something really basic, but really effective, and that captures the tension of what I want. And for when Rick sees the body, and that swooshing, smearing sound comes, he rushes out the doors, and I believe he comes to the double doors where the zombies are, or that might have been before. But there's a zombie section, and obviously I had to do the Foley for the zombies, and what I'd done, I recorded my vocals 3 or 4 times and layered them, high, middle and low. The low zombie was middle zombie, high zombie, and then I layered them, added some reverb and some effects just to make that sound more enhancing. And the door gets pushed forward so that there's a train, and the train gets moved, and you can hear the chain. Then eventually, Rick follows his path and goes through a double electric doors, and it's dark, so he fires another match. Bearing in mind this second track is still being played, and that track can't stand alone. It's spooky, but it needs the sound effects of everything else. It needs the sound effects of his footsteps. The match is being fired. The door slamming, the doors closing, and to add more of an effect, I've used like a dark, deep drone underneath that second section going into the third section. So there's just a little something that's dark and deep there. And I've used other like scary, ambient, unsettling sounds that like most generic horror movies have, but they're really effective in this case because the sound effects question his facial features because he's so upset, and you would be if you was in his shoes. When he walks to the fire exit and he opens the fire exit, and at that point I've used silence. Sunlight, he opens the door, there's sunlight, there's a lovely day, it's a beautiful day, but not for him. There's a silence, and then his hand is like in that position. He moves his hand away, and that's when the music changes. The piano is like stabbing a power chord, but the fifth of the power chord is augmenting and diminishing. So we've got a dissonant chord going on there, but being followed by the same melody of the previous song. And I'm really happy with what I've got because it's so dissonant, and his facial features are just so, he's just so upset and so angry, and the music complements so well. And as we get towards the end of the clip, I've automated the sound effects of the drone and the swooshing wipe louder and louder and louder. So it's like a climax for when the clip comes to an end. And really, I think I've hit the nail on the head with that section, because originally it had just the music playing and it needed something. So them sound clips alone just add that little bit of spice to the mix, and it's brought it to the surface, and it just sounds so much better to watch because it's climaxed. Because it's built up now, because the viewer in my position would want to see what happens next because the music is so good. I'm really happy for what I've done. Right, thank you, I'll see you soon.